Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we will be looking at connection before correction. This means connection first before disciplining your child. The parent and child relationship is most effective when it is first based on love, kindness, and respect. In order for us to truly follow someone, we have to love them first. Look at how the Sahabis radiallahu anhum loved the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and how they followed him to the latter. In Islam, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam took 13 years to first instill iman in the hearts of the Sahabis radiallahu anhum before first introducing the ahkam, the jurisprudence and the rules. Similarly, in our parent and child relationship, our hearts need to be connected first. We need to prepare our children's heart, but by first solidifying love in their hearts so that they can feel securely attached and safe with us in order for them to truly follow us. In order for us to influence them, we need to first have a secure attachment and bond with them. Let's look at how the Prophet ﷺ did that in his life with the children around him and with his Sahabis radiallahu anhum. One of the most trending principles in gentle parenting is connecting before correcting. And I was so amazed to find that this is in our sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Akrimu awladakum wa ahsinu adabahum." Honor your children and perfect their manners. The Prophet ﷺ gave preference to forming a bond with their children, meaning you first show them mercy and love, then disciplining them, which comes in form of and perfect their manners. This means without the latter, we cannot be effective and successful in disciplining our children or perfecting their manners. The Prophet ﷺ, as Anas is describing him, was very merciful to the children around him. He says that I have never seen anyone more merciful to children and his dependents more than the Prophet ﷺ. In one narration, Anas radiallahu anhu says that he used to have a brother called Abu Umair as a nickname because the brother used to have a small sparrow that he would play with. The Prophet ﷺ would often visit them, and one day he noticed that Abu Umair was very sad. He asked those around him why the child was sad, and they explained to him that his sparrow has died. When hearing that, the Prophet ﷺ approached Abu Umair and he asked him, "Ya Umair, ayna Nughair? Ya Abu Umair, ayna Nughair? Oh Abu Umair, where is Nughair?" And he engaged in a conversation thereafter with the child. The Prophet ﷺ was the commander of armies and the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yet he still had time to show kindness to a child. He knew the child, he was present, therefore he understood and acknowledged that the child was sad. How many of us form these types of relationship with children? Do we even notice when they're sad or happy? The Prophet ﷺ was very compassionate towards children. In so many narrations, we see how he used to kiss Fatima radiallahu anha's forehead before he would leave the house or enter the house. We also see how he would kiss his grandchildren and play with them. He would pray while Hassan and Al-Hussein would climb his back. How many of us show physical affection to our children? Studies show that in order for our children to flourish emotionally, physically, and mentally, they need physical affection from us. Yes, I'm sure we do that to our younger children. They're the lucky ones in Kenya. Affection and mercy is being extended towards them, while our older kids do not receive that. When was the last time that you hugged your 16-year-old or 18-year-old, or even told them you love them? Whenever Fatima radiallahu anha, for example, would have a squabble with the Prophet ﷺ, imagine that. Would she have a doubt in her mind that the Prophet ﷺ loved her? No, he was very expressive. He was very expressive in his love for her, radiallahu anhu. In order for us to be attuned with our children and influence their behavior, we need to model these traits that our Prophet ﷺ has shown us. Another important factor is respect. When you think of respect, we hardly think of children. The Prophet ﷺ was very respectful towards children. In a narration, a cup was brought to him, a cup of milk, and on his right side was a young boy, and on his left side were elders. He took the cup and drank, alayhi salam, and he turned to the child and asked him, "Do you give me permission to give this cup to the elders?" And the child said, "No, by Allah, no, O Prophet of Allah. I would not favor anyone from my drink from you. I would not favor anyone with my drink from you." If this were to happen now, would we even acknowledge that there was a child sitting at our right to ask him permission to give a cup to the elders? We would completely ignore them and give the cup to the elders. This shows that respectful parenting did not start now with gentle parenting or conscious parenting or positive parenting or authoritative parenting. It started way back and is our legacy from the Prophet ﷺ. And this is how children and the Sahabis followed him, because he was kind and loving towards them. He first focused on the relationship he had with them in precedence to rules and regulations. The Prophet ﷺ also used to compliment and encourage his Sahabis. It is very important for us to show appreciation, kindness, and encouragement to our children. Unfortunately, which is a mistake that is so easy to make, is us focusing on their undesirable behaviors because we feel the pressure of molding them into desirable people in the community. We are always following them behind, telling them, "You did not do this, you did not turn off the lights, you did not have your breakfast, you did not take the plates back to the kitchen." And we struggle to see the positive traits of our children. I, for example, was talking to my son the other day, and I had read this and I wanted to compliment him, and I struggled. I did not find one thing to compliment him on, because he was displaying this undesirable behavior the whole day. That night when I was going back to sleep, I remembered that he had taken his plates to the kitchen and he had helped his brother wear his shoes. But my mind is so negative because of constantly criticizing and following up on rules and regulations that I was not able to see the good traits that my son had. And I'm sure we are all guilty of this, which is contrary to our sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ would focus on the positive traits of his Sahabis and compliment them. For example, he would say, Uthman radiallahu anhu, Uthman is the most sincere in modesty. And he would compliment Ali by saying, Ali is the wisest of judges. He would throw compliments and positivity all round in order to win the hearts of his Sahabis. What about us and winning the hearts of our children? Lastly, we need to spend time with our children in order to do all of this. I was listening to a psychologist who was saying we need at least 20 minutes with a child without throwing rules and giving tasks or asking questions. Just 10-20 minutes with a child doing whatever they love or just talking to them, and we'd be amazed at how quickly our children will reform if they are displaying undesirable behaviors. There's a saying in psychology that goes, the children who act in the most undeserving ways of love are the most deserving of love. Meaning, the child who doesn't receive love acts rebelliously, and they can only heal with love. In a hadith, the Prophet ﷺ explains that kindness is not added on anything except that it beautifies it. We have enough evidences from our sunnah that we should focus on connecting and forming a beautiful relationship with our children first, in order for us to influence them and shape their behaviors. May Allah make it easy on us. I'm sure it is not something that is easy because we aren't used to this, and I'm sure all these concepts seem like a foreign thing, but with encouragement and practice, it will become easy. Barakallahu feekum. In the next episode, we will be discussing about structure, because I'm sure the authoritarian parenting in you is like, okay, we've learned about love, forming connection, but where is rules in all of this? We need love and enforcement of rules. In the next episode, we will be discussing how we need a structure in our house and how to enforce rules in a positive manner, so that we can shape our children into desirable human beings. Assalamu alaikum.